Cat Caught My Heart: Stories of Wisdom, Hope, and Perfect Love by Michael Capuzzo and Teresa Banik Capuzzo. This book is dedicated to former strays Texas, Argo, Lander, and Daisy, and the wonderful places they came to us from, America's animal shelters. Introduction. No one should waste their time trying to define mankind's relationship to the cat. That task defies us, even as the cats themselves do. Maybe the cats themselves understand it, maybe they don't either, but it doesn't matter all that much. What does matter is that on a planet where most of the life forms that evolved over billions of years are now extinct, some higher wisdom decided to let us and our cats coexist at the same moment in history. What has resulted from that cherished coincidence is a unique kind of love. Love and mystery are practically synonymous in our culture, and cats are just about the most mysterious critters we interact with. Snakes may be as mysterious, but very few people love snakes. They are interested in them. Cats have a much higher cuddle factor than snakes. Anyway, when it comes to cats and our deep appreciation of them, love and mystery become all wrapped up in each other, and we are in the grasp of both. And don't we just love it? Mike and Teresa Capuzzo, devoted life and living things lovers, have explored the cat-human equation by seeking out and recording events that have happened to real people interacting with real cats. What results may seem otherworldly, but these stories, dare I say tales, are very real, as you are about to learn. Roger A. Caras, Thistle Hill Farm. Chapter 1: On Love. People may surprise you with unexpected kindness. Dogs have a depth of loyalty that often we seem unworthy of. But the love of a cat is a blessing and a privilege in this world. Kinky Friedman. I think back on the strange views that many people held about cats. They were selfish creatures, reserving their affections only for situations which would benefit them, and they were incapable of the unthinking love a dog dispenses. They were totally self-contained creatures who looked after their own interests only. What nonsense! I have felt cats rubbing their faces against mine and touching my cheek with claws carefully sheathed. These things, to me, are expressions of love. James Herriot. Barney, a true story of an old lady and her cat. Barney was a most unusual cat. He wasn't of any particular breed, just a stray that someone had tossed from a car in the woods at the bottom of my lane. He was about 3 months old when I found him, just a little thing, crying in the woods. He was thin, scared, and hungry. I picked him up, carried him home, and in a few weeks he became to me the most beautiful cat I had ever seen. Barney came to me at a crucial time in my life. My husband had died very suddenly of a heart attack 3 months before, and I was alone. It often amazed me that right about the time my husband died, Barney was born. Everyone needs someone to love and care for, and Barney became the most important part of my life. Perhaps I loved Barney too much, but I had someone to get up for again in the morning, someone to feed and care for, but most important, someone to love and someone to love me. Barney was a red and orange tiger, often called a marmalade. His markings were perfect, and the stripes on each of his sides formed a bullseye. The children in the neighborhood often remarked what an excellent target he would make, but in the rural section of Bucks County, Pennsylvania, where I lived, the children love and respect animals, so I didn't have to worry about Barney being hurt. Barney had the most mischievous face, and the brightest eyes I had ever seen on any cat, and he lived up to his face. It was very embarrassing when I had guests to open the dish closet and find him sitting on the plates, and even more upsetting after dinner when I opened the dishwasher and pulled out the rack to have him jump in the back where I couldn't reach him. There he would sit until he was good and ready to come out. Barney never ate like an ordinary cat. He used his paw for a spoon. He would scoop up his food and eat from his paw. He never slept like other cats with his face buried in his fur. He slept like a person, stretched out full length, with his head on my pillow at the top of my bed. Barney was not allowed out at night. He slept in my bed, and every morning, just as it began to get light, he would awaken me, and I would let him out. I think he must have had built-in radar. At 10 o'clock, almost to the minute, he would come home for breakfast. Then he would go out again, checking in and out all day just to make sure I was home. The days I went out, I would find him sitting in front of the garage, anxiously awaiting my return. I would scoop him up in my arms, put him over my shoulder, and with that sleepy look of love on his face, he would purr so excitedly my neck would become all wet. Barney loved to hunt. Not mice, rabbits, or birds like any ordinary cat. Snakes were Barney's favorite. He brought home 12 that first summer. Big ones, little ones, thin ones, thick ones, all kinds and all colors, and laid each one at my kitchen door. And Barney loved feathers. He would spend hours playing with them. I often thought Barney pulled the feathers from the tails of our wild guinea hens and pheasants as he stalked them through the fields. Barney's life was one adventure after another. Barney was born a clown. Word went around the church that at my home there was always a floor show following dinner. Barney would climb on the back of the sofa and chairs, and if any old lady had on a hairnet or earrings, Barney would manage to pull them off. One old lady swears to this day that Barney blew in her ear every time she visited. No one ever got angry. He was picked up, hugged, stroked, and kissed, and he loved every minute of it. Once, when he jumped on the tea table and upset all the refreshments, the only remark made was, "Well, that's our Barney." Every evening, as I watched television, Barney would climb in my lap, put his little head on my shoulder, purr, and sleep. At those times he was no longer a cat. He was my baby, my little boy, and my heart filled with love. One Saturday late in September he went out as usual. At 10 o'clock he did not come home for breakfast. At noon I had a premonition something had happened to him, and I started looking for him. I called all of my neighbors and asked them to check their cars, garages, and barns in case he had wandered in and the doors closed. Saturday night passed. It began to rain. I left the garage open and the lights on. I missed church on Sunday and enlisted the help of my neighbors. Everyone was looking for Barney. We walked the highway through the fields and woods. Monday passed. On Tuesday evening, just about dusk, my neighbor's young son came to the kitchen door. He looked as though he had been crying. "I found Barney," he said. I looked at him. "He's dead, isn't he?" He nodded. I followed him down the road to the edge of the woods, and there, partially hidden by a mound of wet autumn leaves, was the broken body of my beloved Barney. I never knew how or why he died. I picked him up, carried him home, and buried him in the garden. That night I knelt by my bed, and with tears streaming down my face, asked that age-old question, "Why, God? Why? Why Barney? Why Barney, who brought so much laughter and happiness to so many people, old people who had almost forgotten how to laugh?" And as I knelt there crying, a feeling of peace came over me, and it was then I knew where Barney was. I knew that Barney would live forever in my heart, and in the hearts of all who knew him. And somehow I feel that as I approach the Golden Gate on my last journey, Barney will be sitting there waiting with that anxious look on his precious little face. I thanked God for the little time I had him, wiped the tears from my face, and wrote my Memorial to Barney. Memorial to Barney. Lord Jesus was checking heaven one day, walking along on the bright Milky Way. He said to himself, "Heaven seems very dull. The angels are grumbling, all is not well." He paused for a moment and then looked down, and saw little Barney, my precious clown, with his mischievous face and bright little eyes, and he lifted him gently up to the skies. He gave him a crown of diamonds and gold, and welcomed him in the heavenly fold. Now heaven is not the same as before, for as soon as Barney got through the door, he pushed off his crown on the golden stairs, and climbed on the angels and purred in their ears. He pulled the feathers from out of their wings. Feathers were Barney's favorite playthings, and he almost toppled down from afar as he tried to grab a twinkling star. He keeps pushing his crown around the floor, and his tail gets caught in the golden door. The angels are busy as they can be, trying to keep up with little Barney. He has brightened up heaven, that I know, but oh, little Barney, I miss you so. Evelyn B. Kruse, age 88.